What's going on, guys? Welcome back to A&E Podcast.
Let's get right into the very beneficial.
Well, like something like that.
Good. See, and it's clear.
And you're spilling it all over his
Cans are hard to
Because I was just like, oh, look at them. Good for them.
What's your favorite or best performance? Who would you say are your favorites personally? Who is your favorite person to call? And also, if there's a difference, who's your favorite person to watch live? If it's not the same thing, what was your favorite call there? Definitely my favorite so far. This is my favorite performance. Going on, guys? Welcome back to another redraft. This one we're going to be doing the 2014 NBA draft. I know this one's going to be a real controversial one between me and Tom here. So, Tom, if you want to start it off, go right ahead.
All right, so with the first pick in the 2014 draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select the best center in the last 10 years, Nikola Jokic, who was the former 41 pick drafted during the Taco Bell commercial. And it's funny because this pick, and I know who you're going to say, that pick as well, might, cross over, and the Cleveland Cavaliers might not pick up LeBron in free agency. I apologize. He's not going to leave to go to Cleveland. And if he does, Nikola Jokic and LeBron James, best duo of all time. But yeah, my first pick is the best center in the NBA, Nikola Jokic.
My first pick is the best center in the NBA, Joel Embiid.
Well, you can't take He's not, bro.
He's the best center. He's the best center. Did you see his stat line the other night?
Wow, one game, dude. Good for him.
He had 59 points. He had 59 points. I don't know how many rebounds. 12, 11, something like that. 8 assists, 7 blocks.
That really compliments the 2 MVPs he has sitting on the shelf. He doesn't, dude.
Oh, please. The only reason he doesn't have any MVPs is because he gets injured pretty consistently.
What was that?
What?
What? He can't.
I said.
So why take him with the first pick?
Because when he plays.
If he plays.
Yeah, no, he plays. He plays through his injuries. He plays through his injuries half the time. This last playoffs, he was playing with a dislocated finger or something and a broken face. What are you making faces about? It's true. It's true. He plays through every injury he has. The year before that, when Ben Simmons didn't know how to shoot a jump shot and didn't want to dunk on Trae Young, he was playing with a torn meniscus or partially torn meniscus or something.
He'll trust the process all the way over to being a sportscaster next to Charles Barkley with 0 championships.
Listen, man. All I'm going to say is Joel Embiid is better than Nikola Jokic. So, and he's an amazingly better defender. So, the only thing Jokic does better is pass.
Steals. Averages more steals per game.
Oh.
He's a better all-around scorer. He is. Embiid can't stretch the floor as well as Jokic can.
No, I mean,
he can't.
It's not like it's completely far off.
Jokic is one of the best playmaking centers we've ever seen.
Yeah, good for him.
Good for him. 2 times.
That's the only thing he does better than Joel Embiid.
Go on, dude. No,
that's the only thing.
We just said he's a better offensive player.
Defense is half the game, and no, he's not a better offensive player.
Jokic averages more steals than Embiid does, dude.
Steals don't mean anything.
So you want to talk about rebound, and Jokic averages more rebounds too.
No, I don't. I was just gonna say when I was talking about Joel Embiid's stat line, him having 12, 11 rebounds. I don't care about rebounds. Rebounds don't mean anything to me. I don't care about rebounds.
Okay.
He's a better defender, a way better defender. And defense is half the game, and he's not a better offensive player. Jokic is not a better offensive player. He's a more diverse offensive player.
Jokic is 10 times better on offense.
No, he's not.
10 times better.
He's not.
10
no, he's not.
10, bro, 10. Embiid just sits in the paint. That's all he could do.
What are you saying?
Stretch the floor.
Jokic,
one mid-range jump shot.
Embiid is a top 5 player in the league to take doubles. He takes doubles for about, I believe, I just saw the stat today, like 13 possessions per game. Jokic wasn't even top like 15.
Yeah, that's because they can't double Jokic. With his court vision, you can't double Jokic. Joel Embiid doesn't have the court vision. Jokic is going to find everybody, regardless if they're guard or not.
What? That is so stupid. Because
why are you going to double the best player?
You know the number one most double player in the league?
Who?
James Harden. You're telling me he doesn't have court vision?
Not like Jokic. Jokic has better court vision than James Harden.
What do you say? Okay.
He doesn't?
You gotta go home now, bro. You gotta go home.
He doesn't?
You gotta go home. My number 1 pick was Joel Embiid. My number 2 pick was Nikola Jokic. He's a bum. I shouldn't have even taken him second. He's terrible.
My number 2 was originally going to be Embiid, but I'm going to switch that for Clint Capella just because of what you said.
Oh, God. There we go.
Obviously, I'm taking Embiid with the second pick. Milwaukee, who knows? Him and Giannis developing together could have been insane. Like I said, though, imagine LeBron came to Cleveland with Jokic and Joel Embiid with Giannis in Milwaukee. That could have been, again, path changing for the NBA, and that gives, Golden State competition there. Obviously, Cleveland had competition. They were the competition, but imagine both those teams coming out of the East. You don't know who you're playing, and if push comes to shove, you're either playing the best offensive team in the league with Jokic and LeBron, or the best defensive with Embiid and Giannis.
Yeah.
So, again, I think that would have been awesome.
Either of those duos would have been absolutely insane. So yeah, I would have loved to see that.
Especially younger years. I mean, I guess you could say post injury Embiid, pre-injury Embiid. Who would have known? Who knows what would have happened if he wasn't in the Phillies organization or the 76ers organization? 76ers are known for hurting their big men. Like 3 years straight, you're hurting your big man. You're hurting Ben Simmons. You're hurting Markelle Fultz.
I mean, to be fair, I think Embiid did have the injury concerns before, but also
I feel like a lot of players have injury concerns pre.
They probably didn't do much to help him out.
Anyway. No, look at the organization. I think it was like 5 or 6 straight first-round picks for them were injured. Jahlil Okafor injured, Nerlens Noel injured, Joel Embiid injured, Ben Simmons injured, Markelle Fultz injured. Yeah. So I'm not trusting the Sixers to take anybody. So I went with Embiid in my 2, and my 3 Philly. Which now that I said that, I sort of regret doing this for his sake. But the former 13th pick Zach LaVine.
Oh God,
man's a demon, but I think that if he was in the Phillies, the 76ers organization, he might end up like the next D Rose.
Yeah. Oh God.
But I took Zach LaVine in my 3. There's not much to be said there. Again, man's phenomenal. Yeah. Who knows what could have been done with this organization if everybody did stay healthy, and LaVine there with what could have been in Jahlil Okafor, what could have been in Nerlens Noel, what could have been in Ben Simmons, what could have been in Markelle Fultz, but it's a lot of what it could have been. So I think Zach LaVine at 3, easily the 3rd best player in this draft.
Yeah, definitely the first thing I agree with you on in this video. I also got Zach LaVine at 3. Like you said, though, him going to Philly might not be so good for his career. He already has the injury concerns as it is. Going there, oh man, he might have shredded cheese knees. So sorry for sending you there, Zach. But good thing this isn't real life, right? So on to number 4. I went with it was hard for me to rank this guy. I ended up putting him at 4, but it was tough. I went with Julius Randle.
I'm about to say, don't say Julius Randle, dude.
I went with Julius Randle. It was tough for me to rank him. I don't know. Like he has his moments where he's really, really good. Like 2 years ago on the Knicks when they were the 4th seed.
The Pelicans.
Yeah. And then he has his moments where he's really, really bad.
But does he develop in Orlando? Not a lot of people develop in Orlando.
I don't know. Look at Paolo.
One player, but then you look at everybody before him. Look at Mo Bamba.
Yeah.
Look at Jalen Suggs. Look at Cole Anthony. Players who we knew that were phenomenal in college who haven't been doing it.
Cole Anthony's not doing too bad in Orlando.
He's not doing too bad, but another injury player and a guy again. Cole was always hurt. Even at times in high school. But I don't know. Look at the players in Orlando that aren't developing. Look at they had Tobias Harris. They had Aaron Gordon. Look, I love Aaron Gordon now as a Nuggets fan. He's playing great this season, but he was supposed to be this great player and he wasn't.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. But again, I don't draft for fit. That's your job.
Yeah.
My job is just taking the best available player. And to me, I think it would be Julius Randle. Like I said, I had a tough time putting him in this list because he's just so high and low consistently. So, but that's where I got at my number 4. So
my number 4, as I said, Orlando is hard to develop, but I want the player who took the years to develop the former #1 pick, the Canadian GOAT, Andrew Wiggins. Like I said, it's hard to develop in Orlando, and I think if they would have dedicated their time for Wiggins to develop, he sort of just got tossed around as soon as he got drafted. You know, he thought he was playing LeBron, boot, nope, gone right away. And I don't know, man. I think that maybe if they took the years to focus on Wiggins, he could have been that player. You know, you put him alongside Vucevic, and you see what happens at that point. But athletic, can't shoot much, one-time All-Star now. But even if you want to make him a trade piece eventually, and you know, see what you could do with that, maybe get an All-Star out of it in the coming years of him and Vucevic, you see what happens. But like I said, it's like you said, it's hard with the 4th pick to see. This is a very even draft class out of what I would say the first 3 people.
Yeah.
So my 5, the Utah Jazz take the pesky point guard, shooting guard, who was the former #6 pick, Marcus Smart. You know, not Mike Conley, but now Mike Conley. But the Jazz, you know, mid 2000s, 2010s were okay. Gordon Hayward, their scorer. Rudy Gobert, their defensive minded big. And you throw a pesky player like Marcus Smart, who actually ended up being teammates with Gordon Hayward. You throw a pesky guard there over, I believe it was probably Tyler Eulis at the time. May not have been. It was a weird point guard. Again, Marcus Smart's probably, in my opinion, probably the best guy there. This draft was hard for me with fit too, because a lot of things would probably change the future of the NBA. But I'm gonna put Marcus Smart there to be that guard for Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, this draft was not even you draft for fit, I draft for best player available. This draft was hard for me for best player available too.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a weird draft. It's hard to like compare these guys, some of them.
I think that there was somewhere where I'm like, okay, this guy fits, but like Utah can't pass up on Marcus Smart. I feel stupid saying this, but I'm not even sure who Utah's point guard was in 2014. Again, I feel like it was probably a decent player. I gotta look it up because now I'm gonna feel stupid.
I want to say it was
Trey Burke, Dante Exum. Okay,
that's what they drafted this year. They drafted Dante Exum.
Exactly. So imagine taking Marcus Smart instead. There you go. So you take Marcus Smart instead of that, instead of Exum, instead of Trey Burke, and Trey Burke's a good spark plug player, but you take him off the bench for Marcus Smart when he can't score, and you match him with you put him in with Ingles, Gordon Hayward, and Rudy Gobert. That's a great defensive lineup that could also score the ball. So,
yep,
going with Marcus Smart by 5.
Yeah. So my next 2 picks are exactly what your picks you just had. So I'm off at number 5. Number 5, I got Andrew Wiggins. You know, he had for the #1 pick, he had a very disappointing few first seasons. You know, he showed a lot of flashes in Minnesota, but it wasn't really until he got traded to the Warriors where he really started to break out a little bit. And now he's like
that helped him out, you know.
Yeah. And now he's like a very good two-way player, you know. So he's become one of my more favorite players just because he does his job and he does it at a very high level. I don't think he deserved to be an all-star starter last year.
Definitely deserved an all-star game appearance.
But he definitely deserved the all-star appearance. It was just they didn't really have any forward spots, I guess, like whatever. But yeah, I got him at my number 5. And then my number 6, I went with Marcus Smart as well.
So my 6, Boston. I have them taking the former 7, and that former 7 is Julius Randle. And I just think that, you know, Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Randle, imagine what could have been there too, you know? So them 3 together, obviously you're losing Marcus Smart to 1. You're going to have to find your 1 eventually. And, you know, if time doesn't change with that, Kyrie comes. And then Kyrie, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart. Julius Randle, and then whoever you play your 5 at that point, Al Horford, when you get Rob Williams eventually, if you get Rob Williams, even if you play Randall at 5, run small ball. Avery Bradley's there. Isaiah Thomas is there for the time being right now. So, like you said, Randall's probably the best on the board, and I believe in him in that spot. Moving on to my number 7, former 25 pick to the Los Angeles Lakers. That is my boy, Clint Capella. I love him, man. I think that he's a dominant center. The guy's phenomenal. I don't really care what anybody says. Everybody could judge Clint Capella all they want. The guy's phenomenal. I believe this is I want to say pre-Brook Lopez era. Unless it's current Brook Lopez era for the Lakers.
I think it might have been current with Lopez era.
They still had Kobe, so he's old, but you got the young.
Oh wait, the pick was the Lakers?
Was that?
The pick was the Lakers?
Yes, 7 was the Lakers.
Okay. No, I think he's still in Brooklyn.
Yeah, so I think it's pre Brook Lopez.
Yeah.
You get Clint Capella at the 5. Kobe's there to mentor the young guys. Obviously, you don't get Randall now, but instead of Randall, you're getting Clint Capella, who's a dominant defensive center, can still score the ball if you need him to a little bit. Obviously, not on the ball. You want to play an off the ball lob threat, but you have young players now who can make that happen. You have D'Angelo Russell, you have Jordan Clarkson, you have Nick Young. So I got to grab the slack that they let off, but I took Clint Capella, originally the 25 pick, to my 7.
All right. Yeah, I can respect it. Former Rocket, obviously, I got love for that guy.
Go.
But me and Tom do argue a lot about Clint Capella.
Goated, man. He's top 5 center in the league.
Yeah, that's what we argue about. Tom always goes, he's a top 5 center in the league. I'm like, dude, come on.
Man's a monster. Look at what he's done though. He's taken almost every team he's ever been on to the playoffs. I know we're gonna argue about it.
He's not Tom. You could put any center on these teams and they're going to the playoffs.
Oh, really? Because I'm pretty
the reason he plays.
Pretty sure when the Hawks didn't have him on the team, when they had John Collins, they had Trae Young, they didn't go to the playoffs, dude.
It was Trae Young's first year.
It was his second year. He went to the finals.
First or second year. It was his first or second year. Okay. Trae Young is obviously he's not going to be a superstar from the start.
But he had a good team. He had just about all the players before Capella, besides Capella.
Oh, so yeah, Capella was the difference maker. Yeah,
100%.
Listen, he's had the privilege of playing with some of the best pick and roll guards in the NBA.
Had the privilege of playing with him.
What? Yeah, okay. We've argued about too many centers tonight. I'm done with this. What am I on? 7?
The Lakers, yes.
Okay. With my 7, I went with Jeremy Grant. He's a very good role player. What?
Mid-pick.
Whoa.
Capella deserves the spot, bro. No, I agree. I like Jeremy Grant. I mean, I don't agree with where you placed him, but he's a dominant force. I love him
especially what he's doing today. Not literally today, but I mean this season, he's been amazing this season so far for the Blazers. He's been really good for them.
Disagree there.
So, but even before that, before he's starting to really take off this season, he was a great defender, great 3-and-D guy.
He helped Denver go to the Western Conference.
Yeah. He's whatever team he's been on, he's always just been an amazing role player for them. And like I said, what he's doing right now in Portland is he's taking that next step really, and he's just showing out for them. So I got him at my number 7. Going on to 8, I took another Portland guy, Jusuf Nurkic. It was tough between him and Capella. It was hard to rank them. But I ended up going with Nurkic first. I think he's not as good of a defender, but he is a better offensive player. I think he just does a little bit more on the offensive end.
Oh man.
What?
He's a big body down low. You don't want to be down low with him.
Oh, Nurkic? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he could shoot it a little bit too. So I think he provides a little bit more diversity on offense than Capella does, which helps the team a little bit more. But like I said, not as good of a defender. So
yeah. So I'm up to 8. My 8 pick was the former 27 pick Bogdan Bogdanovic.
Oh, okay.
I swear to God, I saw a BR and I was like Brogdon. So wow. So my 8 pick was Sacramento. Bogdan Bogdanovic, great shooter. He's proved that he's a dominant shooter. And again, I mean, right now playing on Atlanta, he's that guy for them when it comes to shooting outside of Trae.
Yeah.
He was on Sacramento originally, I believe, right?
Yeah.
He's a Sacramento player, so I believe that I was just taking him earlier, which is funny because obviously we're not going down to the 28 pick, but I'm taking him earlier to the team I believe he ended up being drafted to anyway. And I took him at my 8 to Sacramento. I apologize. I thought I saw BR, and I was like, who else's name is spelled BRO? And I was like, oh, Brogdon.
I figured that's who you meant, but I was just like, wait a minute.
They're spelled the exact same, just one is an R and one doesn't.
Did I forget Malcolm Brogdon in this draft? I was like, oh, God.
I would have taken Brogdon earlier, I think.
Yeah, me too.
He was probably the 11th draft, too.
What?
Was he the 11 draft? 12
Who?
draft? No, he was
Brogdon?
way later. He was way later than that.
Brogdon was way later. Brogdon was like 15
16?
or 16.
Yeah. But I'm gonna go straight on to my 9. My 9 is Charlotte taking Jeremy Grant. Like I said, like you said, Jeremy Grant's a great role player. Great two-way player. He could shoot a decent amount. Not the best shooter, but not the worst shooter. You pair him up alongside Kemba Walker, and I think that he is that guy that they were looking for rather than Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. He is that defensive threat that they wanted, but he's also the offensive threat they needed. So I think that if you throw him around, alongside a prime, coming to the end of his prime, Kemba Walker, he could have been even better than he was. And it's crazy too because he was a second-round pick. He was a former 39 pick. Another player who the 76ers almost ruined their career, actually. So I went with Jeremy Grant in my 9.
Okay, I'm up to my 9 now.
Yeah.
I went with Clint Capella.
Nope.
I hate to reminisce. Because him, James Harden, and Chris Paul had a ridiculous winning percentage when they were all healthy. That year that they took the Warriors to 7 games, because of Clint Capella. Yeah, it was all thanks to Clint Capella.
Imagine if you guys didn't have him.
Yeah, I know. And then we traded him for Robert Covington.
The GOAT.
But anyway,
Mohawk maniac.
Clint Capella, I love him. Great defender. Pick and roll guy. Not shooting. He's not going to shoot the ball, but he'll give you that post offense. And yeah, I got him at 9. Straight into number 10, I went with Jordan Clarkson. A little bit higher than maybe I should have had him. But I don't know. I think he's just been a very solid bucket.
Yeah.
You need a bucket, you give it to Jordan Clarkson. He'll go get you a bucket. Especially what he's doing on the Jazz right now. He's been very good for them, which was surprising me a little bit. But yeah, even last year, years prior, he's just been that solid sixth man for them, and filled in his role really well to just give him the ball, and get a bucket. So
what's funny about this, because my next pick is a player that fits this realm, and I feel like this is the draft of players who almost got their career ruined by a team. Do you understand what I'm saying though? A lot of players who, if they didn't get traded by the organization they were on, or they didn't get dropped by the organization they were on, their career would have been ruined. So my next pick with 10, which is Philadelphia, I mean, who could have ruined this guy's career because he's an athletic player, Aaron Gordon, who's a former 4 pick. And my thought process here was imagine the high-flying offense of Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine. If they didn't get injured, obviously, but it just brings me back to Lob City.
wow,
The shooting guard that could actually get up. And if you do get Ben Simmons in 2 years, that team would be disgusting, man. But again, Aaron Gordon, his career almost got ruined by Orlando if they didn't trade him to Denver. His career stepped back up now because he's playing the right role. But in Orlando, he's just like an average big that sort of lost his touch,
Yeah.
And the 11, I'm going to go actually Denver's pick, who actually got drafted here, got traded away. A player whose career also almost got ruined. And that's Doug McDermott. Prior to being traded to the Spurs, he was okay. He is now the one, if not the 1-2 option for the Spurs, next to Devin Vassell.
Wow. Keldon Johnson.
Keldon and Devin
Jakob
Vassell.
Poeltl. Trey Jones.
Poeltl's not an offensive.
Bro, he just had 30 points the other night.
Wow, one night.
Yeah, okay, but still. Dougie Buckets isn't doing that anymore.
Maybe not the 1, maybe not the 2, but he's still one of those options that he's going to give you 15 a night now on the Spurs. You know what I mean? And before they drafted Vassell, before they got Trey Jones, he was averaging, I believe it was about 17, 18 points a game on the Spurs. And that was right after the Pacers stint where he wasn't doing that much, you know what I mean? He wasn't, if he didn't get traded, he wasn't going to be that good. But I think if Denver took him here without Jokic, they are, they get Jamal Murray eventually, they get Michael Porter Jr., and he fits the 2 role, which is something we've been lacking for years. We had Gary Harris on a max contract. I don't know who in their right mind thought that was a good idea, but that's going ahead and going, you know what, George Hill, max contract, because why not, right? No, you don't sign Gary Harris to a max contract. That's why we actually traded for Aaron Gordon. But I'm gonna go Dougie McBuckets to play alongside Jamal Murray and eventually Michael Porter Jr. if they do get drafted here.
Okay. I don't have him till a little bit later. I think there's a few players that are decently better than him.
I think so too, but again, I think we're going by fit here. I go by fit. You don't.
True. True. So I'm up to 11, right?
Mm-hmm.
I went with Bogdan here. Bogdanovich.
Brogdon.
Malcolm Brogdon, yeah. Like you said, he's a very good shooter. Um, he's been very good on the Hawks. On the Kings, he had his moments, but
Yeah.
since going to the Hawks, he's really like come into his own player.
Mm-hmm.
Just been really good for them. He's injured right now, so I'm excited to see him come back and play for them because they have a pretty deep roster.
Yeah, they still
So
got
when
rid
he
of my
comes
boy
back, it's
Herter
gonna
though.
be what?
So they still got rid of my boy Herter. K Hurt, that's my boy. I love that guy.
Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
Man's a demon.
I saw a stat the other day. I don't even know how to explain it. He's like the worst. He has the worst defensive shooting percentage in the entire league.
I love him.
So,
Love the guy.
I mean, he's been doing good on offense for the Kings though. So,
Mr. New York, bro. Mr. New York. That's all I gotta say.
but yeah, I went with Bogdan there, and at my 12, I went with Aaron Gordon. Was that the order you had them in too? Did you have them back to back?
No, I would have if I didn't mess up his name, but I had Bogdan, Jeremy Grant, Aaron Gordon.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I went with Aaron Gordon in my 12. Like you said, he's been very solid for the Nuggets. Orlando, he was kind of lost.
Which is funny because you just drafted him back to Orlando.
Yeah, did I actually?
The 12th pick is Orlando.
Oh man.
Oh, he's a little lost in Orlando, so we just drafted him back there at the
Well,
12th pick instead of the 4.
have fun, Aaron Gordon. Have fun.
Yeah, I mean, with my 12 in Orlando, I took Spencer Dinwiddie, a player that didn't go until 38. Um, he's good, man. I mean, he's proved himself as a good defensive point guard. He can't shoot the best, but I mean, I don't know. Offensively, defensively, he's a good point guard. I think that he's one of the most underrated players in the league, and I always thought so. Him and D'Angelo Russell had that run in the Nets, and they were phenomenal together with Caris LeVert and Jared Allen. And I think that to this day, um, the trade for the Nets, getting rid of all of them, basically getting rid of all of them. I know that D'Lo wasn't involved in the trade, but for James Harden was a loss for the Nets. I think that if you have, I believe that they actually got rid of Dinwiddie for Kyrie, but let's say you have Kyrie, Dinwiddie, Caris LeVert, Jared Allen, and KD on one team, that's a championship team rather than Harden, who was there for a month or two. I know it's more than that, but so I went with Dinwiddie at my 12. Hopefully he fits Orlando at that point. My 13, Minnesota, I went Jordan Clarkson. Like you said, he's might not be the best one here. I think that now he would be for me, especially who's left on my board. But now, currently, a player whose career was almost ruined by Cleveland once he was on that championship team. He didn't even play. He didn't step on the court, and everybody thought, him and Rodney Hood were two players that barely played, and they both picked their careers up. Unfortunately, Rodney Hood fell off again, but Jordan Clarkson stepped up and proved that he was a player that should have been drafted higher, and he was a 46 pick, man. Steal the second round. Steal this.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was going through this draft, I was like, wow, I did not know he got
Second
drafted
round
that
went
late.
loaded, dude.
Yeah.
The second round with Dinwiddie, Clarkson, Jokic, Joe Harris was in the second round, I believe. Dwight Powell, Jeremy Grant. Great, one of the greatest, I think, probably the greatest second round draft I've ever seen.
Yeah. And then there's all these people that go, "Oh, second round picks don't mean anything. I don't care about second round pick."
They do if your GM is good.
Yeah.
They do if your GM is good.
Yeah. But so I'm up to 13 now, correct? Yes. I went with TJ Warren here.
A bubble
king. He has a little bit of a weird career. He was very solid for a few years, a decent role player, and then he kind of like had a little bit of like a takeoff around, like obviously he was playing out of his mind in the NBA bubble.
Yeah, insane. 50 points.
Yeah, but he was starting to play good before that even happened.
Yeah.
And ever since that, unfortunately, he's been injured. So we really can't judge
his potential.
his full potential, because that was really when he started to take off.
Yeah, that was
and people were like, "Oh, it was just a bubble. He was acting different because it was the bubble." But he was starting to play good before that even happened.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm excited to see him come back. Hopefully this season. He's on the Nets now, I believe. Which they could use somebody like him if he comes back and actually plays well.
Yeah.
But it was tough to put him somewhere on this list. But injury stuff aside, when he did play, he was a solid role player. So I got him at 13. And then at my 14, I went with Spencer Dinwiddie. Looking back on this list, I probably should have put him a little bit higher.
I can see why he was a little bit later. Again, I had him later as well.
Yeah. But looking at it, I would take him over Jordan Clarkson probably. So.
Yeah, I took him the pick before, but I'm gonna move on to my 14, another second rounder, giving Phoenix that shooter and Joe Harris. I just said that at the time they had Joe Ingles. Imagine Joe Ingles, Joe Harris sharing the court with Gordon Hayward if you play a smaller lineup, but that team is shooting lights out for you. Like you can't ask for more. Joe Harris leading the league in 3-point percentage 2 years ago, and to mix and match in with Joe Ingles, who's a great defensive player who could also shoot the lights out. So that's gonna be my 14. My 15, Atlanta, former 14th pick TJ Warren. You just covered it. And again, I mean, he was awesome, and this was the year that they had their run. And I think that if you replaced Amari Carroll with TJ Warren, who knows how good that team could have been. So, if you want to go ahead with the 15.
At my 15, I went with Doug McDermott. He's a solid bucket. I don't think he was anything special over any of these players. Solid bucket off the bench, give you a few points here and there. Have some nights where he just goes off for you, can swing a whole game. So I went with him at 15. At 16, I went ahead and went with Kyle Anderson. Very good 3-and-D guy.
Yeah.
He just plays his role extremely well. Great defender. He's an underrated playmaker too, actually. Yeah. So I went with him there.
My 16 actually went with Kyle Anderson, who was actually the last pick in the first round in this draft. He again, he plays at his own pace, and to put him in Chicago, I think could have fit. They have Taj Gibson, they have Jimmy Butler, they have D Rose, right? Yeah, this is D Rose times 2014. Yes. Yeah. D Rose, Jimmy Butler, Joakim Noah, Taj Gibson. You put Kyle Anderson in your 3, a 6'10" 3 that could defend just about any position and shoot the ball a little bit. But my 17th pick, somebody I totally forgot about earlier in the draft, Jusuf Nurkic, the number 16 pick, another Denver center from this draft. Actually, I believe they traded the 11th pick for him. But Jusuf Nurkic, I sort of forgot about him a little bit.
Wow.
It's funny because going back, I like you said, I had all the names written down, and I actually didn't even have him going here. I had him going last in the round because and I'm going by fit. So with Boston in the 17th pick, I took Dwight Powell, who's my 18. So, fit is a weird game when you're drafting by who the team needed at the point. And so I went with Nurkic at my 17. I'm just gonna finish it off, and I went with Dwight Powell at my 18. Phoenix, take him at the center role. You can shoot a little bit, good defensive center. Nurkic, same way you explained it before, and I think imagine him on Boston too. Team could have been dominant.
Yeah, yep. And for me, I'm on 17.
Yes, sir.
I went with Joe Harris. You explained it before. Great shooter, good defender. Bring that energy to any team. You're a good player. So, yeah. And then I didn't draft Dwight Powell anywhere, but he's a solid guy.
That's your honorable mention for the episode.
There you go. Honorable mention, Dwight Powell.
So that is the 2014 NBA draft for you guys. We're going to be getting into more of these redrafts coming up on future episodes, but we're also going to start bringing in a new segment. So I hope you guys are excited for that. And make sure you guys stay tuned on the Instagram at ANDE_podcast to see what that new segment is very soon. Thank you guys for checking out the channel. We hope to catch you guys soon. Peace.